Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. I'm your host for today's explainer, and we are diving into the Capstone architecture and integration plan. So if you recall our previous lesson on designing the multi-token platform architecture, yeah, you might still be waking up in a cold sweat having nightmares about missed webhooks and duplicate blockchain transactions. Those synchronization failures, they are no joke. But don't worry, today we're fixing all of that and finally bringing some order to the chaos. All right, here's our master plan for today. We're going to run through the architecture blueprint, the 4 essential layers, the integration workflow, endpoint schemas, signals and observability, and finally, your Capstone next steps. We're building this specifically to prevent those Web3 synchronization disasters, right? And we're doing it before we write a single line of code. So part 1, the architecture blueprint. Our main goal here is to draft the engineering schematics for an unshakable bridge. We need a bridge between Web2 front ends and Solana programs. And the absolute core of this foundation, the idempotency key. Basically, it's a unique tracking identifier that ensures a repeatable transaction is processed only once. Think of it exactly like a shipping logistics tracking number. It's your absolute foolproof, no double charging me guarantee. If your system accidentally retries an action, this key essentially tells your backend, hey, we already processed this token mint, definitely don't do it twice. Moving right along to part 2, the 4 essential layers. To make this blueprint a reality, we obviously can't just throw all our logic into one massive monolithic file. That'd be a mess. Instead, we have to break our system down into 4 highly specialized layers. Think of it kind of like a highly efficient post office. You've got the REST edge, that's the front counter, where they check your ID and weigh your package. Then the app layer manages the tickets and puts your package on the internal conveyor belt. Next, the worker layer is the sorting facility way in the back. And the Solana program client? Well, that's the armored delivery truck securely taking your transaction directly to the blockchain. That brings us to part 3, the integration workflow. Let's see how a request actually moves through all this. So, how do these layers talk without dropping the ball? Step 1, the REST edge captures that idempotency key we just talked about. Step 2, the app layer immediately enqueues the task into a durable store. Step 3, the worker dequeues it and queries the Solana RPC. And finally, step 4, we perform our background webhook reconciliation. It's really cool because by checking the idempotency key at the REST edge, right at the start, and then again when the worker starts, we completely eliminate duplicate processing. Literally, even if an upstream webhook fires 5 times in a row, our worker basically just yawns, points to the recorded key, and safely ignores the duplicates. Up next, part 4, endpoint schema walkthrough. Let's look at exactly how our REST edge drops bad requests early, before they clog up our workers. On top here, we have a bad blocking synchronous request. This is just a terrible user experience. Your user clicks a button and then just stares at a frozen screen while your server desperately waits for the Solana RPC. Not good. But on the bottom, we have a safe asynchronous pattern. Here, we validate the payload structure immediately, write a super lightweight operation record to our database, queue up the job, and let the user get on with their life while all the heavy lifting happens in the background. And that brings us to my absolute favorite number in Web3 API design, 202. The 202 accepted HTTP status code is literally the ultimate response pattern for asynchronous Web3 work. Instead of making the client wait for a blockchain transaction to confirm, which, let's be honest, could take several seconds or even fail entirely due to network congestion, you instantly return a 202 status along with a queued token. The caller can then use that token to track the progress on their own time. It's polite, it's efficient, and man, it scales beautifully under load. All right, part 5, signals and observability. Let's talk about monitoring the system. If the previous architecture was our engine, this touchpoints matrix represents the dials and gauges on our dashboard. For the REST edge, our key signals are request latency and HTTP error rates. For the app layer, we're carefully watching queue depth, because if that climbs, it means our workers are too slow. For the workers, we track retry counts and outright failures. And for the Solana client, it's all about tracking RPC latency and watching for rate limits. Trust me on this one, glancing at a clean dashboard completely beats desperately spelunking through messy text logs at 3 a.m. while your users are angry. The golden rule here is to instrument every single handoff to turn invisible sync failures into measurable alerts. As you explore more programs at Forge College, you're going to realize this is the true secret to a resilient platform. It transforms that vague, terrifying feeling of, I think something is broken, into a highly precise alert saying, hey, worker 3 is experiencing a 500 millisecond RPC latency spike. Let's investigate. Finally, part 6, Capstone next steps, getting ready for testing. We've laid out the theory and the architecture, so here are your immediate marching orders. 1. Draft your specific architecture diagram based on our 4 layers. 2. Map your exact integration touchpoints. 3. Define your queue and storage technology, something like Redis or RabbitMQ. And 4. Prepare for the testing phase. Go ahead and build that REST edge template, because our upcoming lesson is going to put this exact architecture under immense pressure.
I want to leave you with this provocative question. If a retry storm hits your API right now, what breaks first? Seriously, think about it for a second. Does your database lock up? Do your users get double charged because idempotency keys aren't flowing correctly? Designing this blueprint means knowing the answer before it ever happens in production. This explainer was designed to prepare you for that exact testing phase. If you want to dive deeper into the subject and explore other incredible Web3 related topics, please visit forge.college. Keep building, keep learning, and I will see you in the next one.